My name is Dave Thomas, and this is Pansophical Podcasts. Welcome to this first episode I call Prelude to Pansophy. Most of the work I've done was voice work on commercials. I realized concentrating on selling required me to keep tabs on our shared narrative, and manipulating that knowledge got me more work. It seemed justifiable at the time, but now it's just too heavy on my soul to carry it around. I feel partly to blame for the overwhelming sense of everything headed for disaster. I used tricks to suck in the audience and helped make all this happen. I want to share why I created Pansophical Podcasts. First, I impacted millions and millions of people with my clever deliveries. And I'm sorry, I was just trying to pay rent. But I think it's only fair that I share the immensely powerful tricks that I used to lower your defenses by tickling your ego, and the perspective that made it so successful. I mean, this is the best way I can think of to erase the red on my ledger and teach and to show and to demonstrate just how powerful and successful our species could become through a positive viewpoint and a positive mindset. It turns out, evolutionarily, people like hearing a sincere, entertaining, and emotional story. Sharing stories is powerful and uplifting in our species. When we see our past and its predicted near future, it shows using money as a metric for measuring anything is evolutionarily stupid and suicidal. In short, we are where we are because we no longer know how to listen or how to differentiate what's good for our species and what's bad. Now, our present shared narrative started before I was born in 1955. But I've been watching as we've been steered towards being lazy listeners. My retrospective view of life is much easier to see the older I get. Everything is starting to really connect. Why stuff happened and what I did with it is largely influenced by my childhood and what I was born with, like dyslexia and realizing I was different in a good way very, very early on. By the age of 5, I knew how powerful being nice to people was. And I say that because I suffered childhood trauma in silence for decades. But I survived. And I became, what I am today. A good human. There were 20 years in there where I wasn't happy. But my positive mindset, my evolutionary elder's DNA, kept me in the fight till I could get the therapy to discipline my perspective and live in the now. That repaired me as a confident, old and crafty guy. And the trick was shutting down that negative voice in my head and really embracing more of a positive view and a positive mindset. And that's the secret to winning. That kind of mental attitude has made my life a very satisfying experience. Even when I was lost, down deep in the hell of hells, I knew there had to be a way to get out of it. I just had to be patient, stay positive. Pansophy gives meaning to the reality that we all live alone in our bodies, but we can only exist by sharing with others. This is how our evolution has worked for hundreds of thousands of years. I met loads of people along my way, like the Dalai Lama. Presidents, tons of actors, comedians, producers, directors, loads of brilliant writers, amazing, powerful women, artists from all kinds of art making, photographers, printers, painters, sculptors, potters. I learned something from every one of them. You know, life is a chain, and it's only as strong as its weakest link. We all know we can do better. Learning the skills of a positive viewpoint and a positive mindset is a good place to begin. You know, this podcast has taken me 10 years to crack open. And if it does serve as a suitable place for me to leave what I've learned here for everyone, it has taken me 69 years to start sharing it. It makes that mantra, never give up, feel a lot more important and real. Collaboration is a high form of expression because it shares many viewpoints of the same goal, working together differently in concert to share one message. Sharing is the foundation stone of our evolution. My short time with the Dalai Lama informed and calmed my inner soul. But I felt that he saw me then as I am today. Stay positive. Never doubt your path. Stay committed. No matter how hard it gets, stay in there. Stay positive and in the moment. And he said with a very serious face, you know, that the mistake is usually from missing some important and vital fun experience. So you got to stay fluid and keep open to anything. And you have to have fun in every moment. Fun is the key to a great adventure. So keep your aura of fun in play in every moment. And something else I learned. The hard way is always the easiest way. You know, in my manual that I'm working from here, the Universal Manual for Positive Viewpoint and Mindset also says it's vitally important to remember that everyone is different. And what works for one person doesn't work for all. So we must customize our absolute everything for life. I think a great example is the way F1 teams optimize and customize cars and drivers differently, but in similar ways, using the same things differently. I mean, in our case of you're the team and you're the driver, you're the hero or the heroine. You're the team principal, you're the strategist, the engineer, the machinists, and the janitor. Relax. You, me, we're all born with as much as 200 new mutations along with upgrades of successful evolutionary changes in our DNA. How do you know that? Well, you're listening to it. I'm talking to it. Most of you that I'm speaking to are probably newer versions of humanity. You know, we're all packed with this evolutionary information, but you are the person who knows the most about you. You are the authority. You are the strategist of your life adventure. And your choices won't always work. And if they do start working always, you're maybe not pushing hard enough. So you might need to pick up the pace and take a little bit more curb while managing your tires and the cars in front and behind. And I know, it's like dancing on the edge of a knife. Relax. Breathe in, hold, and exhale. Mental discipline is a positive. What if scenarios are not? What if scenarios are black holes? You must imagine responsibly. And don't waste thought on things you have no data on. I watch my what-if scenarios just fly by. I don't touch them or entertain them. They are the black hole of negativity. Don't confuse that with the positive of critiquing your failures. Debriefing failure and success is very good. And it's very smart. And this is what winners do. Failure is essential to the best adventures. Failure teaches, it reveals, and it leads to all sorts of strange things you might need, but you'd never see if you didn't try. We, as a species, are currently in a state of failure by the imbalance that lies and division cause to our delicate shared narrative. Childhood behavior from mega wealth is the poster child for why anger never works on any scale, and that mental health is key to our evolution forward as a species. This insanity of lies can only happen in and through a shared narrative, the nexus point of communication and content. Most of these reoccurring fascists are terrible orators. But if you don't know how to hear the subtext of the message, this is the mess you get. Showing people how to see, how to feel, and how to speak positively is more powerful than lies. The spiritual superpower of music, nature, and story is something that fascists can't comprehend, and they don't get it. All they want to do is punish their perceived enemies, but like a 4-year-old child. Strangely, I suspect this designed failure is our next step forward towards the Pansophy of positive and more enlightened life adventures for us and humanity's us in the future. How? Failure always shows where success is not. You see how I spun that? It's positive. It feels good, right? Grab on. Positive always gets better. This episode was created just before the launch to give you, the audience, an idea of what's going on here, and, subject matter. And the next episode was inspired from a scouting trip I did for places to live in Europe. And the next 6 after that are the first podcasts that I made. And they're followed by 13 podcast radio shows with interviews of writers and directors, all kinds of interesting people, with a different band and interview and with their played music on the show. It was cool and fun and ended horribly, thanks to bold white supremacists drunk on 45's Kool-Aid lies. I think it was way too much Hollywood for, a sleepy small country town. And I shouldn't have bit off a piece I couldn't really chew long distance. It had 1 hour of content, and that made it operationally exhausting and difficult. It had way too many moving parts, and these weekly shows that took way too long to write and to produce. And I love the challenge of it, but to make a long story short, Show 13 incited the rage of the white supremacists. And during the broadcast, I got this anonymous text from a throwaway phone that they knew exactly where I lived, and they could see me sitting at my desk with the view of the Sierra Nevada. I knew all about high-caliber sniper rifles that could reach out and touch a target almost a mile away from my service in the military. And I'd heard the same exact sounds in my neighborhood. If I had a 4-member SEAL team on my 6 acres, or the Avengers, I would have said, bring it. I'm ready. Let me get a drink of water here. I canceled the show the next morning. And when they asked why, I said so. And even they weren't completely sure that calling the sheriff was a good idea. The town was small. It's like 1,700 people. So I took a pause. But I kept my head down and I stayed home. And I made new plans to optimize my life. It would have been so easy to stay furious mad, but I didn't. I purposefully enjoyed every last minute with the wildlife. They were my best friends up there. The deer, the fox, the rabbits that lived under my deck, the turkeys that played on my roof, the bobcats and coyotes that would come through, my hawk friends, the owls, some of the toughest bluebirds I've ever seen, and annoying woodpeckers that were so pretty it made all the noise they made okay. Everyone knew who I was. I'm a professional actor. So I started acting, and I acted the part of an intimidated wimp. I kept my head down. My postures showed complete defeat. It was a brilliant performance. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't try any ad-libs. I just nodded my head and said thank you. Nobody bothered me after I put my house up for sale. They knew I'd be gone, and 3 years later, they were right. I gave away as much as I could. I moved back to LA, where I made Pay It Forward, the episode that's going to follow this episode. I didn't feel any safer in LA, but I stuck to my survival plan, and I got on a plane with my little studio, and I took a one-way trip to Europe. Life is different here. It's better. It's slower. It's affordable. And I'm working on the next podcast series about the people I met doing voiceover work and how important voiceover is to everything, especially marketing. You know, I've sold damn near everything on the planet. In fact, here's a couple of demo tapes I want you to listen to of stuff I sold to pay rent. It's not the whole commercial, it's just the little good snippets. But I'm sharing it so you can see the wide range of different characters I can voice that can be used to subtly bend and to warp thought, to bend perception and reality. And it's all designed to get you off balance just a little bit. And that's when you think you should have what you can't afford. Ego is the most dangerous thing on the planet. Advertising is implied happiness that disappears seconds after the delivery when you see the assembly instructions, okay? So I want you to check out these two demos. One is commercials and the other one is narration stuff, like Discovery Channel and Nat Geo and stuff like that. At Polaris, we didn't build a machine with 70 horsepower to be taken out for a Sunday drive. Like we didn't engineer a machine that packs an 800 twin EFI to haul around a picnic basket. The Polaris XP sales event. Up to $1,200 in rebates and financing as low as 3.99%. Going on now at your local participating Polaris dealer. Detroit Tigers season tickets are on sale now. Multiple packages with lots of great benefits starting as low as $192. Call 313-471-BALL. Always a new season. Always a Tiger. Unstoppable. Eli Manning is. So is his Citizen Echo Drive watch. Fueled by light, it never needs a battery. It's unstoppable, just like the people who wear it.
Who?
Find the owl carrying your invitation and win a trip to the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Only at Universal Orlando Resort. Watch Ellen for a chance to win.
We need Andy.
Andrew. Let's go, guys.
There's only one place where local, college, and pro sports play together. AT&T doesn't have it. Time Warner Cable Sports 32 does. Upgrade to digital cable for less than $15 a month. Gatorade, the most tested sports drink on the planet. Out of the ashes of the American Civil War, in the year of 1867, in a sleepy New Hampshire town, an inventor was at work. Howard Sylvester Roper was sweating over the design of a two-wheeled machine comprised of 2 cylinders and powered by steam. As his vision for what would become the world's first motorcycle came to fruition, Roper's instinctual compulsion, and one that echoes throughout the DNA of the sport, began to obsess him. Roper died as many thought he would, a cardiac arrest while atop his motorcycle. But this man's dream would spread its seed. The value of a Super Bowl ring to a quarterback cannot be determined with carrots and clarity. It can be appraised by how his legacy grows after sliding it on his finger. It means more than statistics. It means more than records. And by adding a second one, it means he is a legend. Dominance as never seen before in the sport of snowboarding reveals itself to be red-headed as Shaun White evolves into a new breed of snowboarder. Born in Carlsbad, California in 1983, Shaun White started snowboarding on a family vacation to Mammoth Mountain. His ascent from then until now is jaw-dropping. His consistency as a rider is unmatched as well, medaling in the X Games for every year from 2002 to 2008, not to mention a gold medal in the halfpipe in the 2006 Olympic Games. He's a dual sport athlete that's able to move between skateboarding and snowboarding at the pinnacle of each sport, and his riding speaks for itself. If there is a limit to Shaun White's ascendance, it is not yet in sight. Hysterical, right? I have mixed feelings. to be honest. Listen, I mean to hip you, the audience, to the tricks I used to sell you all the stuff in your garage, in your house, and more. Now, I'm using those very tricks right now to rope you into this final part of the pitch. And I'm trying to get you to like it and to like me and to think that this was your smart idea just for listening in. And that's good. That's good because I need a big version of you, the audience. You're the missing treasure. You're the money. And to fascism, you are the mark. VO can sound so sincere, so confident, so what you think you want. The audience is defenseless against subtext. It plays into and manipulates our evolutionary memory, and advertising is the most blatant with it. Marketing is not your friend. Frankly, most tricks are so powerful and so easy to speak, it could make an idiot a president. Each podcast, I'm going to share examples of me manipulating the audience in every episode. So you can feel it, you can see it with your own ears in the podcast where it's safe. That way, when you hear it out on the street or in an ad in everyday life, you'll stop and you'll say to yourself, oh, wait a minute. This is that VO trick Dave uses right before he tells you financing plans are available. Call now. Operators are standing by. Listen, we all hate lies. Why? Because they are demeaning. They're stupid. They're negative. They're mean and divisive, no matter how cleverly you disguise it. Listen, life is a test that can be experienced in heaven or hell. It's your choice. We all choose our preferences of adventures as well as our expectations. Life is supposed to be a challenge. And if you like a good recovery from tripping over a crack in the sidewalk or spinning a bad experience into something truly remarkable, you're going to love sharing Pansophical. Relax. Everything works out. It always does. So you might as well enjoy the